I have the honor of introducing our next speaker, Governor David Ige of Hawaii. I had the privilege of meeting the governor last November at COP26 in Glasgow. He is the 8th governor of Hawaii, and he is focused on improving the lives of Hawaii's people and making the islands a place for future generations to call home. He is increasing affordable housing, reducing homelessness, moving towards the state's 100% renewable energy goal, and remodeling public education to prepare students for the innovation economy of the 21st century. Under his leadership, the state has aggressively moved to ensure financial sustainability and enable future growth. He believes that we can achieve our shared goals because we have always been better together than alone. Without further ado, Governor Ige.
Aloha. Thank you so much. It's great to be able to join you. Thank you for the invitation. I wish I could be there in person with you all, but unfortunately, my responsibilities here prevent that. Like everyone at the conference, we here in Hawaii are still digesting the new Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change report. However, I can already say with great certainty that the findings are troubling and alarming, even if somewhat expected. Most troubling for Hawaii, the world is on a trajectory that makes it impossible to limit warming to 1.5 degrees Celsius with no or limited overshoot. The new report underscores even more the role that carbon management, carbon markets, and innovation to change that trajectory plays. This underscores what we already knew. The work being done at the North American Carbon World Conference is critical to our future. This past November, I had the opportunity to attend COP26 along with my colleagues, Jay Inslee, Kate Brown, Michelle Lujan Grisham, and other US governors as part of the US Climate Alliance and in partnership with the Climate Action Reserve. It was important to me to attend because I wanted to support President Biden's renewed commitment to the Paris Agreement. And also because Hawaii is a Pacific island and we cannot settle for an overshoot scenario and bake in climate catastrophes into our future. Islands are at the front lines of climate change. In the Hawaiian Islands, environmental stewardship is a product of our people, place, and culture, all working side by side to care for and protect the land and water. It starts with people. In Hawaii, our people are a mix of many ethnicities, but we are all close to nature. Our culture is based on the Hawaiian value of aloha, to live in harmony with the people and the land. In Hawaii, people look up and they see green mountains and forests. They look out and they see the blue sea. Right now, when our people look out and up, they are seeing the impacts of climate change. And like the canaries in the coal mines, we are sounding the alarm. In 2015, 3 Category 5 hurricanes surrounded and threatened the Hawaiian Islands at the same time. Kauai experienced 2 devastating rain bombs in the same area, the first dropping 54 inches of rain in a 24-hour period, destroying homes, ruining traditional taro farms, and exposing traditional livelihoods. We can see chloral bleaching and the impacts of also ocean acidification. Drought is driving invasive axis deer into urban areas because there's no food in rainforests. Wildfires such as the Mana Road fire, which burned 1% of our land area in a single fire, are increasing. As islands, we cannot get quick assistance from neighboring states very easily. We know that it's up to us to develop solutions that help our islands build resilience. And that's why we believe islands offer the key, because Earth is an island and we can't call for help from somewhere else to fix the climate crisis. In Hawaii, people are demanding more action to stop climate change from getting worse and mitigate the impacts we're already seeing, and to prepare our islands for what's to come. That's why we made policy decisions and set ambitious goals based on the science. And we are leading by example in meeting these goals. At the very beginning of my first term, one of the main energy debates was whether we needed LNG as a bridge fuel in the islands. I said no to LNG. Instead, we focused all of our efforts on renewables. And that policy decision helped drive the state's energy transformation. Our main electric utility proposed selling itself to an outside buyer that would not bring local decision-making for Hawaii's energy future. I said no to losing our self-determination, and that decision too furthered our journey toward a renewable future. But when it was time to commit to our clean energy future, I said yes. Hawaii was the first US state to commit to 100% clean renewable energy for electricity. We didn't know exactly how we would get there, but we were clear about where we needed to go. It's the same for emissions. We were the first state to commit to the Paris Agreement in law and do our part based on the science and Hawaii's share of the nation's emissions. The science tells us that we must not only do what we can to keep 1.5 degrees Celsius within reach, but to keep it under 1.5 degrees. We know that net zero is not good enough, and that the new IPCC report underscores that. We know the end state is to take out more than we put in, because it's not enough to just stop emitting. In 2018, Hawaii committed to a net negative emissions goal. We will sequester more than we emit as soon as practical, but no later than 2045. With these goals set, we are focusing on high impact actions and leading by example. And one way we're leading is by the intentional diversity of our climate governance. Hawaii State Climate Commission is a majority of women, with both co-chairs being women, and almost 3/4 of the members are Asian or Pacific Islander. I believe this leadership team is making a real difference in our efforts, such as our race to zero on energy and race beyond zero on emissions. In many ways, Hawaii is leading these races on one of the hardest courses. We are bringing 6 standalone islands and energy systems to resilient 100% clean energy economies. We have the most rooftop solar per capita in the country. We have more rooftop solar on the grid than any single power plant. We are retiring the last coal plant in Hawaii this September and replacing its power with solar and battery storage. We are laying out the renewable energy projects needed to retire our oil-fired plants. We have the second most electric cars per capita and are rapidly adding more. We are electrifying bus fleets and adding more multimodal transportation options. Again, we are leading by example by committing to convert our state fleets to electric cars by 2035. And our state employees are required to rent electric cars when traveling for businesses when rental companies have them available. And we are tackling the hardest problem with emissions, aviation. We are preparing for electric airplanes to fly inter-island and sustainable aviation fuel to fly across the ocean. And as the science tells us, this is really a race beyond zero. Nature-based solutions are key to us achieving negative emissions. Investment in our natural resources gives us the best chance to capture more carbon than we emit. During the pandemic, when people stayed home, we saw how rapidly our air cleared and our vibrant coral communities were restored. And if we give nature an opportunity, it will help us more than we ever realized. As just one example, I committed Hawaii to 100 million trees as part of the 1 trillion tree initiative. That is 10% of the global 1 trillion tree initiative that I'm so proud to support. We are also exploring carbon management and geologic carbon storage. Following COP26, a delegation of Hawaii leaders visited Iceland to see how we can combine renewable energy, geologic carbon sequestration, and electrofuels here in the islands. All of these actions make Hawaii more resilient. I'm excited about the potential before us. This race beyond zero is really a relay race. It requires a full team, with each member committed to doing the right things in the right way at the right time. When we have the baton, we need to be able to sprint. We sprint now so the burdens of climate change do not fall unduly on our most vulnerable communities. We sprint now as the least well-off among us can have a better quality of life in days to come. We sprint now so my children and grandchildren can call Hawaii home later this century. We sprint now so children around the world can enjoy island Earth with their grandchildren. And when we've finished our laps, we must pass the baton to those who can carry it further and faster. I'm so proud to be on a team with the people in this room and so many others around the country and the world. Together, we will change the trajectory of climate change. We will be tested on our will to accept the changes needed. The effort requires great capital, financial, and political resources, and I am fully committed to bringing all the resources I have to bear on it, and I know you are too. We have no time for other agendas. The race is on. Mahalo.
Thank you, Governor Ige. Very inspiring words, and thank you for showing us what truly transformational climate and sustainability leadership looks like today. We're going to take a short break. I just wanted to acknowledge that our break sponsor today is Sierra View Solutions, Robert Parkhurst, and our lunch will be sponsored by Ken Newcomb and his colleagues at Sequest Capital. So at bottom of the hour, 11:30, we'll have our first round of breakout sessions. See you there.